I had a great guest on my show last week. It was Ben Armstrong, AKA BitBoy Crypto. And he said, Brian, you know the thing I love about the bear market? And I said, what is that, Ben? He said, the bear market is when you get rich. We've all seen the crypto markets lately. Nobody knows where they're gonna go. And one thing is for sure, these markets are more volatile than anything I've seen out there. It's absolutely incredible. Most people trading these markets have no idea what they're doing. I'm talking about you newbie traders. And that's because they're sheep. And as Gordon Gekko likes to say, sheep get slaughtered. This will shift the structure of the whole financial system at a macroeconomic level. Think about that. Decentralized finance is already revolutionizing the world. You just don't know it yet. This marketplace is growing at breakneck speed, and it's going to generate trillions of dollars in opportunities and give financial freedom back to 6 billion people. I spent 15 years in the centralized finance world. I've never seen anything like the DeFi markets. They come up with innovation that the banks couldn't and wouldn't do. You really need a trusted source of information. You need a mentor, you need a community, you need a game plan, and you need a foundation. I'm looking for collaborators. I'm looking for colleagues who want to join forces with me. I'm going to be dedicating the next 10 years of my life to this DeFi ecosystem and giving financial freedom back to the people. Finance is so much more than currency. Right now, your money is being ripped off out of your stocks, out of your savings account, out of your retirement plan, out of your insurance. You just don't know it. I think it's your basic human right to have your own financial freedom and be able to use your own finances the way that you should. This is why you need a community. This is why you need mentorship. This is why you need a structure and a roadmap of how you're going to learn about these ecosystems. You can't do it alone. The DeFi Academy is probably a better source of information than all these crypto news websites because they really aren't in the game. This is your moment. Take advantage of it. It might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This could take you down a road of incredible enrichment, incredible purpose, incredible service to humanity. Welcome to DeFi Real. We are live. I am Brian Rose, the founder and host of London Real, and this is our brand new program devoted to everything known as DeFi or decentralized finance. This is the $9 trillion a year marketplace. And here, I will teach you how to profit from what I'm calling the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history. These are exciting times, and I'm so glad you're here. Today's show is specifically going to talk about complex DeFi instruments. I'm talking about yield farming, liquidity mining, liquidity pools, and staking as well. This is how to profit from crypto without trading it. A lot of you newbie crypto traders and you day traders out there are doing the wrong things, and we're going to talk to you about the complex things going on behind the scenes and why I am so excited about this. Or I'm going to be teaching you, as I like to say, how to be smart and trade like Gordon Gekko. I'll be playing some quotes from my favorite movie, Wall Street, today. Today, I'm going to teach you how to profit from yield farming, how to profit from liquidity pools, and how to profit from staking. And look, we've all seen the crypto markets lately. Nobody knows where they're going to go. They're up, they're down. We don't know if they're going to, Bitcoin's going to go down to 10,000 or back up to 60,000. And one thing is for sure, these markets are more volatile than anything I've seen out there. It's absolutely incredible. But most people trading these markets have no idea what they're doing. I'm talking about you newbie traders. And that's because they're sheep. And as Gordon Gekko likes to say, sheep get slaughtered. And here's a picture of Gordon out there. Gordon also said the public is out there throwing darts at a board. And he's talking about you newbie traders as well. Well, I don't throw darts at a board. I only bet on sure things. And Gekko goes on to quote Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And he always says that every battle is won before it's ever fought. And again, what I'm trying to show you are trading philosophies that I've adopted over the past 30 years. They're real, they work, and I'm teaching them to hundreds of my students right now in the DeFi Academy. We are mid-course, couldn't be more excited, and I'll tell you more about what's happening inside the accelerator. Incredible group of students from around the world. We have the best DeFi community out there. I'll take the Pepsi challenge with anything. We have the best students here, and we are building the long-term success of this DeFi ecosystem. But I want to say on a serious note, the reason I always like to quote the movie Wall Street is because it's literally littered with so many truisms. Everything is accurate, from the characters to the attitudes to the trading philosophies. And I think we can all learn from that. And here's a picture of Gordon Gekko embracing the latest technology of the time. He's there with his mobile phone, of course, out at his beach house in the Hamptons. And I'm confident that if Gekko was around today, he would be embracing the technology of crypto and DeFi and he would be ripping everybody's throats out. I'm confident he would. And so let's take a little inspiration from Gordon and let's get into it today. And I want to talk about how to trade these complex DeFi instruments. I'm talking about yield farming, liquidity pools, and staking. We all know that Forbes magazine recently said, quote, "This will shift the structure of the whole financial system at a macroeconomic level." Think about that. And the truth is this. This is what I like to say. Decentralized finance is already revolutionizing the world. You just don't know it yet. This marketplace is growing at breakneck speed, and it's going to generate trillions of dollars in opportunities and give financial freedom back to 6 billion people who don't have access to proper and advanced financial markets. And I can't wait to get excited here and talk about what we're going to get through today. What I want to say before we get started is what you're about to see is educational content. It is not financial advice. Obviously, seek a professional before you do that. Look, we've all seen these markets. They continue to be volatile. I had a great guest on my show last week. It was Ben Armstrong, AKA BitBoy Crypto. And he said, "Brian, you know the thing I love about the bear market?" And I said, "What is that, Ben?" He said, "The bear market is when you get rich." And I told that to my students on my private calls this week, and they were very excited by that quote because a lot of you crypto day traders out there are in tears talking about your diamond hands or your paper hands. But meanwhile, in the DeFi community, we know the infrastructure is being built when we see the bear markets. And that's what's most exciting about this. So I would say to anybody out there who's struggling with prices and crypto, et cetera, these are the good times. And another recent article we saw, and I'll put this headline up on screen, we've heard that now George Soros and Steve Cohen, who's a big-time hedge fund guy up in Connecticut, are going in on Bitcoin. And of course, this news site said, here's why that might not be a good thing. Now, this is something I said last night on my live call with my Academy students, and I'm going to share with you a little of this knowledge for free. And that is this. Be careful of what information you consume out there, because every piece of information you consume about crypto, about DeFi, actually about anything, comes with its own agenda. And it's not the same agenda that you have. So a lot of people see these headlines, they panic, they get in there, they start buying and selling their crypto assets. And guess what? The only people who make money on the end of the day are the miners, the media companies, and the central exchanges. Don't be one of those people who panics, who reads headlines, who has that dopamine kick. That's not why we're here. And that's why I have a select group with me inside my academy who are trading with discipline, Gordon Gekko style, for long-term gains. But I just want to caution you, be careful of the news services that you bring your brain into, because they can change your trading strategies. They can make you go bankrupt very, very quickly. So watch where you get your information and watch how you ingest it and how seriously you take it, because it could lead to wrong trading decisions. And of course, we've seen massive volatility in the past. Last year, this is a graph of what happened on Black Thursday. That was March 12th of 2020. We saw Bitcoin drop 40%, Ethereum drop 30%. These were major gaps in the market. And I've got one question for you. How are you going to trade your crypto when markets are down 30 and 40%? You've never seen anything like that. You've never felt anything like that. Do you know what liquidity even means? Do you know what it's like when it dries up? Well, I'm going to talk about that today, and I'm going to talk about the trading strategies that can prevent you being taken to the cleaners when these markets gap like this in massive ways. It involves strategy. It involves removing your emotion and trading with discipline. And that's what we teach inside my DeFi Academy, and that's what I'm doing here personally for the next 10 years, because most of you are going to lose your shirts, you're going to go bankrupt, you're going to be stopped out. I read a statistic the other day that 95% of crypto day traders lose money, right? And that's probably you. And without the right mentorship, the right discipline, and the right community, you have no chance in this market. And that's why we are banding together inside my academy with an incredible group of people. And I've got an announcement coming soon about our second DeFi accelerator, and I'll be sharing some of that as well. A couple more things I want to say. Again, the bear market is when you get rich, especially in DeFi. And we've seen the quote-unquote DeFi summer back in 2020 when crypto prices fell, DeFi exploded. And much of that infrastructure we are enjoying today, incredible platforms that I'll be talking about today as well. I always like to see what Gordon Gekko has said. And again, Gekko said, "I don't throw darts at a board." And here's a short clip of Gekko talking about how sheep get slaughtered, how he doesn't throw darts at a board, and a few of his top-line trading strategies. Here's Gordon Gekko.
Public's out there throwing darts at a board, sport. I don't throw darts at a board. I bet on sure things. Read Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Every battle is won before it's ever fought. Think about it. You're not as smart as I thought you were, buddy boy. You ever wonder why fund managers can't beat the S&P 500? Because they're sheep. And sheep get slaughtered. I've been in this business since '69. Most of these Harvard MBA types, they don't add up to dog shit. Give me guys that are poor, smart, and hungry. And no feelings. You win a few, you lose a few, but you keep on fighting. And if you need a friend, get a dog. It's trench warfare out there, pal. Hey, Georgie.
Hey, Gordon.
How's Larchmont treating you?
Fine.
How's the Praxar deal going? Oh, you should know, pal.
Asshole.
And inside here, too. I got 20 other brokers analyzing charts, pal. I don't need another one. See you around, buddy.
And here's Gecko, probably hanging out at the Penn Club, a place I used to go play squash with some of my buddies in New York City. And he's telling Bud Fox the reality of what he does. He doesn't throw darts at a board. He said, you ever wonder why the S&P 500 managers can't beat the S&P 500? Because they're sheep and sheep get slaughtered. When I look at the crypto markets, I see volatility based on newbie traders, and I see a bunch of sheep getting slaughtered out there. Maybe you're one of them. Everybody I meet these days is trading some crypto in the background. Apparently 2 million people here in the UK out of 60 have crypto positions on. They have no business being in these markets. They definitely don't know how to trade, and it's going to cause a lot of pain unless you have that mentorship, that trading discipline, and that community to keep you honest. And so, again, I always like going back to Gecko and listening to this stuff is timeless and will always apply to your trading strategies. And I want to say this, and I'll go ahead and put this quote up on screen. What we're doing here is trading. This is not Netflix. Don't do it for the entertainment or for the rush, because that results in emotional decision making. You've got to stay disciplined and put in non-negotiable stop-loss orders to create the long-term success. That's what this is about. If you want to be an effective trader, and I spent most of my career in Wall Street, I was in the trading pits of Chicago, I worked in the city of London here for 10 years, I knew some old school, massively successful traders, men and women actually. And the ones that were in the game for the long time are the ones that were mentally disciplined. They learned to fight those emotions, to fight those bad urges, to put on stupid trades, to cut trades before they got the full profits. And all of this takes time, but you can master it. But it doesn't come easily, and it doesn't come without learning. So let's get into 3 principles today. I want to break down some things for you that maybe you're not familiar with. The first one I want to talk about is first this: how to profit from yield farming. You might have wondered what this is out there. You might have not exactly known what it is. This is a great picture on screen here. My grandpa actually used to grow barley, and we had one of those. He's called a windrower at his farm in Colorado. I wish my grandpa would have known about yield farming. Maybe he could have made more money than barley and potatoes, although he did pretty good. I want to talk a little bit about yield farming. I want to talk about the DeFi summer last year in May 2020, when compounds really kicked off what we know as liquidity mining, which is something slightly different than yield farming. It's about actually getting bonus tokens for doing your yield farming on a separate platform. Again, this could only happen in DeFi. That's why I'm so excited. I spent 15 years in the centralized finance world. In 1993, I went from MIT. I got a job at Bankers Trust in New York City. I was on the 33rd floor of Bankers Trust Plaza, right next to the World Trade Center. That building went down after the Trade Center went down, but I was on the 33rd floor and I traded fixed income derivatives. Later, I moved to Chicago to run their treasury options book. I was in the pits in Chicago, and I also came to London and traded credit derivatives and indexes for 10 years. I've never seen anything like the DeFi markets. They're incredible because they come up with innovation that the banks couldn't and wouldn't do. And let's be honest, the banks are making fat profit margins, and we have for the longest time. That's why I was paid way too much money when I worked in central finance. But DeFi comes in with quick and real and intelligent solutions, and liquidity mining is one of the things that blew my mind and got me attracted to this space. So we'll talk about that today. And of course, the folks over at Urine Finance also doing some really great things when it comes to maximizing yield swaps and a lot of liquidity mining as well. And we'll touch on them later today. So that's point number 1. Second, I want to talk about liquidity. Liquidity is such an important concept. And again, probably something you crypto newbies don't even know what it means, liquidity. Liquidity is a simple concept, but it's a very complicated concept. And until you've been stuck on the wrong end of liquidity, you don't know what it is, all right? If you've been trying to dump your assets like on March 12, 2020, you're trying to get out of Bitcoin and it's down 10%, it's down 20%, it's down 30%. And you say, well, how come my stop loss orders aren't kicking in? Well, guess what? There's no liquidity. And if you've been on the other end of that, and I've been on that many times, you feel the pain of a lack of liquidity. And you also feel the warm, fuzzy feeling you get, like a nice warm hug or a meal cooked at your mom's house when you have that wonderful liquidity. And I traded in the US government bond markets and the Treasury futures markets and the interest rate futures markets for many, many years, where basically they're the most liquid instruments in the world. And it's a beautiful thing because you can put on massive positions, you can get in, you can get out, you can swap those instruments for cash like this. It's a beautiful thing, but of course, that can also dry up. And I want to talk today about liquidity pools, which again is another incredible innovation that's happening right now in the world of decentralized finance. These instruments are absolutely amazing. And again, this wouldn't happen in centralized finance. When I worked as a bank at Bankers Trust, I had to make markets to the clients when they would come in. And if I was wrong, they would run over me like a truck, and they would stick me a bad position, and I had no choice. Now, I made money by transacting, but no one ever gave me tokens for doing what I was doing. Nobody ever incentivized me the way these DeFi platforms are, and that's why I know DeFi is the future, and that's why we're going all in on the space for the next 10 years, and I couldn't be more excited. So I'm going to talk about liquidity. I'm going to share an old video of me and Max Kaiser, the Bitcoin evangelist. This was recorded back in 2013 when I had different looking hair and I wore t-shirts, as you can see here. And also, I'm going to tell you some stories of when I was in Chicago. I worked at the First National Bank of Chicago. I traded their Treasury derivatives book from 1993 to 1997. And I did a lot of business on the Chicago Board of Trade and the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. These are these massive pits where there's like 300 guys yelling and screaming in these pits. You've seen them, right? In the movie Trading Places, you saw Eddie Murphy, but those were small. These were massive pits, and I would go down there sometimes and see my brokers. I would usually just call them on the phone and execute the trades, but I'd go see them. I took my mom down there one time. It's incredible to see what's happening there. All that's gone electronic now, but back then, that is where the liquidity was, and I'm going to talk to you about market makers and how they play an essential role and how crypto finally got their game together in the last few years, and that's why we're seeing DeFi explode. And lastly, I'm going to play a short video and give you a lesson of what happens when liquidity dries up. And of course, we're going to go back to my friend Gordon Gekko, and we're going to see that even the greats like Gordon can get stuck on the wrong side of liquidity. And you might have to call up your broker and say, dump it. And that means just get out of that position. I don't care what it costs me. And we've all been there. I've been there before, Gordo. So don't feel so bad. It happens to the best of us. Lastly, I want to talk about this concept of staking. Again, if you're watching me right now live on any of these platforms, leave me comments in there right now. Type in yes if you've done some staking. Type in no if you're curious about staking. I want to cover a few thoughts about staking and also give you my honest opinion about staking. I won't tell you exactly what I think, but I'm not so sure about it. Let me just say that. I'm going to talk about proof of stake versus proof of work, why it matters, and the kind of returns that we can see on staking. I'm also going to talk about this whole concept of yield of mining and how that's going to be potentially phased out over the next few years, and we're going to go deep into that as well. Lastly, again, I want to say what you're watching here is educational content. It's not financial advice. And look, before we get started into these incredible concepts in DeFi, a lot of you have been asking me about our brand new DeFi Academy. And look, it's been absolutely incredible. We have welcomed hundreds of students in for our first DeFi Accelerator, and the reviews are absolutely off the chart. It's absolutely incredible. And a lot of you have been to that page that we just put up there, which is the whole application page that you can find at londonreal.tv/DeFi. And the reviews are off the chart. And I'm just going to read to you a few of the things that came from actual students that are literally right now getting Module 3 today and are on my calls every single night. They're in my private groups, and they're going to be with us for a long time building the future of decentralized finance. We got David S. in the United States said, quote, I feel so much gratitude that Brian and his team have put together this academy. One of my main goals for the year was to educate myself on blockchain and surround myself with leading experts in the arena. I had already started the task, and then DeFi appeared. David, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. From John D. in the US, he said, quote, great experience. Everything is amazing. I am doing things that I am not used to doing, and by that, I am getting forced to be creative and level up. Exactly, John. I get my students to execute trades. I get you to do what you don't want to do in order to become the trader that you want to be. And that's what we're doing inside the academy. Lastly, we got Nyan in Canada, who's an incredible student. We really appreciate you, Nyan. And he said, quote, I was blown away by the positive energy and excitement of our team. The resources were high quality. This is exactly what I was looking for. My confidence is increasing so much. Like, wow, guys. And thanks, Naim, we appreciate that. And again, there's hundreds more where that came from, and we really appreciate it. My students are crushing it. Last week, they put on their first decentralized exchange swap. They set up their hot and cold wallets. This week, they're putting on their first yield farming trades, their first liquidity pool trades, and their first derivative trades. My students will be buying a call option on Ethereum this week. As long as it's legal in their region, we get into the arena inside the DeFi Academy. We don't talk about crypto. We don't listen to YouTube videos about crypto. We put trades on, and that's how we learn. We learn. We get in the arena. We get bloody. We get dusty. We get sweaty. Sometimes we fail, but we always move forward, and we learn at an accelerated rate. This is how I live my life. This is how the DeFi Academy works, and my students are absolutely crushing it, and I couldn't be more excited. The energy's off the charts. And look, if you've ever felt alone in the DeFi space, and I think most of you have, there's no one to talk to, there's no one to trust. What do? Do you trust Elon? Do you trust whatever's being thrown up on a website? Do you trust what China is going to tell you? You have no idea where this information is coming from and what agenda has on it. And you're out there trading on the back of it with tons of dopamine spikes, your fear of missing out, you're panicking, all this stuff happens. And you really need a trusted source of information. You need a mentor, you need a community, you need a game plan, and you need a foundation. That's what I offer inside my DeFi Accelerator. And I am pleased to announce we are opening up our second DeFi Accelerator. There's been so much demand. They said, Brian, you can't do a one-off on this. There's no way you can do a one-off. So it is officially open now. If you go to londonreal.tv/DeFi, DEFI, submit your application and sell me on why you should be a part of my elite team that we're taking over into the future. Sell me on why you should be there. Give me a quick application there and tell me, what do you bring to the table? Education, resources, connections. Maybe you just bring enthusiasm. Sell me on this application. I read these personally, and if I think you've got what it takes, if I think you have the right stuff, then I'm going to accept you, and you can be a part of this incredible journey together. August 2nd, the next course is starting out. But again, we're actually already filling up right now. So we have limited spaces, just like we did the first one. This will probably fill up in the next week. So get your applications in right now and join me, because I'm going to teach you how to profit from the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history. I'm looking for a small, select group of people who want to become part of and actively participate in this upcoming DeFi revolution. I'm looking for partners. I'm looking for collaborators. I'm looking for colleagues who want to join forces with me and create real value and generational wealth for yourself. I believe they go hand in hand. I don't think it's one or the other. I think you create real value for billions of people in the world, and you create generational wealth for yourself. And again, the next DeFi Accelerator kicks off. It's the keys to unlock a $9 trillion market space. We have a limited number of spaces available. It's an application-only basis. It's 4 modules, 8 hours of live calls with me, and it's 4 weeks long. The first call with me is happening, of course, on August 2nd. Be there, 6 p.m. London time. It's personal coaching by me, exclusive access to all of my online videos, my workbooks, my platforms. I've got my triple-tiered accountability system. I've been teaching this way for almost 7 years. I've got dedicated coaches, team leaders, community managers, over 10 people that are helping you on your journey. And of course, I got a private group for posting assignments, getting feedback. Everything is happening, and the course is filling up. It's filling up fast, so get in there, put your applications at londonreal.tv/DeFi. We have been inundated with applications from around the world. There's real interest and passion in here. And I will say this, if you get one of these in your email box, if you see this picture in your email, you know your life is about to change, because it will read, your application to be part of the DeFi Academy has been successful. If you see that picture in your inbox, I guarantee you need to do one thing. Click the link, type in your digits on your plastic, and join me, because this is going to change your life forever, and I can't wait to be a part of this journey. So if you're one of these few people that wants to be a part of the future, go to londonreal.tv/DeFi and apply now. Again, sell me on why you should be a part of this academy. Let me just say, this academy is not for the following people. I do not want you in my academy if you are one of these things. First of all, it's not for crypto day traders. Please go somewhere else, lose your money somewhere else. I'm not interested, don't apply. Second, it's not for get rich quick audiences, people looking to get rich overnight. Please go somewhere else. The crypto space is full of them. Go knock on another door. That's not happening here. I'm not looking for people that are interested in meme coins and internet trolls. Please go somewhere else. I'm not looking for blockchain fanboys or crypto academics that want to talk about white papers and draw diagrams on a board all day. That's not what I'm looking for. So if you're one of those people, please don't apply to my academy. I don't want you here. What I'm looking for is a small group of people that are like-minded with me, that want to invest in this incredible technology long term. I'm looking for people that want to pull the trigger, get into the arena, who are ready to experience failure and massive success. And again, this is not for crypto day traders. It's not some get-rich-quick scheme. Go somewhere else for that. There's plenty of people in crypto selling you that. Please, go somewhere else. Instead, my team and I are going to be building in and investing in crucial parts of the DeFi infrastructure and the future. There's incredible opportunities here, but only people taking a long-term perspective need apply. I'm going to be dedicating the next 10 years of my life to this DeFi ecosystem and giving financial freedom back to the people, the billions of people who are suffering right now. And again, we're closing this thing out soon. Go to londonreal.tv/DeFi if you want to be a part of it today. All right, let's get into this broadcast. I'm super excited you're here. By the way, I'm streaming live on 4 different platforms, so I want to hear from you right now. Answer one of these questions. They're coming right to my iPad. First of all, how do you rank yourself as a crypto trader from 1 to 10? 1 being a complete newbie and 10 being an absolute best. And what is your single biggest challenge as a crypto trader? That's what I want to know. Second of all, do you struggle with understanding complex DeFi concepts like yield farming, liquidity pools, and staking? How does that work? Tell me what you struggle with. Please put your questions in. Third, do you get emotional when trading crypto? And do you struggle with poor discipline? And tell me how. This is really important. And lastly, what questions do you have in general for me about DeFi? And would you like to learn from me how to profit from the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history? All right, type those questions in. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're streaming everywhere. So put them in now. They're going to come right to my pad. And I want to kick off and talk about this concept of yield farming. Now you're out of here thinking, what is yield farming? If I told this to my son Caden, he'd say, what? What's that mean, Brian? What's that mean, Papa? This is yield farming, and this is a funny diagram of, again, it's actually called a windrower that cuts down pieces of barley. And this is what a farmer would do. He's basically putting crops out there into the ground, and they're gaining yields from spending time with these assets. And today I want to talk about how we can do that when it comes to cryptocurrency. It's really important. But before we talk about yield farming, I want to talk about something even more important. What is the difference between cryptocurrency and DeFi? Think about it. What is the difference between cryptocurrency and DeFi? Really think about it. Because cryptocurrencies have been around since 2009. For the past 10 years, we've had Bitcoin. It's been liquid. And yeah, it's been amazing. It's been permissionless, borderless, anonymous. We were always able to transfer value. But the problem with these cryptocurrencies is they remained that one thing, currencies. All they could do was transfer value. And in that sense, there was something wrong. Because what we're talking about today is DeFi, or decentralized finance. Finance is so much more than currency. Finance includes everything. It includes borrowing, lending, trading, funding, derivatives, insurance, and much, much more. So much happens in finance, which is why it's such a big industry, $9 trillion a year. And again, finance represents the entire financial orchestra. Crypto, or Bitcoin, is just one instrument. And so it's important that we understand there's a lot of facets to the world of finance. And if you think about borrowing and lending, this goes back thousands of years. I think it was back in 3000 BC, back in Mesopotamia, where we first saw evidence of lending. And some of the Sumerians and Assyrians and Babylonians, what they would do is they would borrow food from each other, and then they would use future crops to pay off that debt. I think that's one of the first recorded lending markets in human history. So this isn't new. And actually, even on Wall Street, this is not a new concept. If you ever have short sold or a bond or a stock and gone short, you have to borrow that instrument in order to sell it. So you would have already been borrowing securities in the past if you ever executed some of those trades. And I did a lot of that. Back in the 1990s, I traded US government bonds. So from 1993 to 1995, I was on the fixed income derivatives desk at Bankers Trust in New York City. We had a massive book, some probably $1 trillion plus book of fixed floating swaps, and we hedged it with massive amounts of US Treasury bonds, 30 years, 10-year Treasury notes, 5-year Treasury notes, 2-year Treasury notes, and futures. Mercantile exchange futures on euro dollars. That's what we did. And we were doing massive amounts of size on this. And so I was constantly trading in these instruments as well. And in treasuries, we have a lending market, and it's called the repo market. And it's what you can do if you need to borrow something or lend a security. And so what I would do is I would buy 30-year bonds and get a 6% yield. And then I would borrow those bonds for overnight funding rates of 3%. And I would do something called riding the curve. I would take advantage of those 3 percentage points by investing long-term and borrowing short-term. This is a classic yield farming example that's been going on in the government bond market for probably 40 or 50 years. So this is not a new concept, but it got new in crypto and it got accelerated when Compound got into the game. So last year, around May 2020, really around the DeFi summer, when crypto goes down, that's where the bear market comes in and that's where you get rich. And so we saw Compound do something extra. They said, first of all, you can lend us your crypto and we'll pay you an overnight return. But guess what? On top of that, we're also going to give you extra comp tokens. And no one had ever seen this before. And again, in centralized finance, there's no equivalent. When I would used to do this with treasury bonds, no one said, well, we'll give you an interest rate, Brian, and we'll also give you these special tokens that might skyrocket in value that you can use for this or that. You know, it's almost like reward points, like on an airline, or if you go to like a typical shop or a food market, they give you these extra points that have value. DeFi saw a way to do this, and when Compound introduced these comp tokens as rewards for people doing yield farming on their platform, it absolutely exploded. Everybody started lending and borrowing crypto, and the yield returns for lending basic cryptos overnight went into double and triple digits for yields. That's like 50, 60, 70, over 100% annual percentage yields. It's not realistic, and it didn't last. But it showed the world that DeFi and its innovation was here to stay. And so we saw this entire market of yield farming and of liquidity mining take place. And we've seen other companies take it to the next level. Aave's done great things. Also, Yearn's done great things. And so you need to understand how these markets work. You need to understand that people are constantly borrowing and lending these instruments. You need to understand these extra tokens you get from these exchanges and all sorts of other intricacies that, quite frankly, are changing every single week in DeFi. And that's why I say this. If somebody tells you they're an expert in DeFi, they're lying, because there are no experts in DeFi, because the market is changing every single week. We're learning new information. All of these protocols and these dApps and these blockchains are being stress tested. We're seeing what happens. We're seeing when things go wrong. We had Mark Cuban talking about triple-digit yields on Iron Finance a couple weeks ago and how great it was. Well, you know, with reward comes risk. And if something's too good to be true, then maybe it's too good to be true. Now, look, hindsight's 2020, but Mark and everybody got burned on Iron Finance as they saw those things literally go to zero. So it's great to get 100% overnight yields, but that doesn't make much difference when your tokens are worth zero the next week. So always keep in mind there are trade-offs, there are risk and rewards, even if you can't see those risks. And that's why crypto is very different, DeFi is different, there's nobody protecting you, which also makes it very exciting. And so those are the basics of yield farming. What I'm making my students do this week is to put on their first yield farming trades and to get out there and get in the arena. That's what we want. You know, anybody can comment from the sidelines, but the best way to learn is to put these trades on. So they'll all be putting yield swaps on. They'll be learning the hard way. And that's why I'm so excited about the Academy and this entire ecosystem. Once you understand this by trading the instruments, you can make intelligent long-term trading decisions. So there you go. Always remember, there are risks out there. So these platforms bring bad code. They bring hackers. They bring all sorts of other issues with token economics that haven't been thought through. So remember, always assume your capital is at risk, and that's always an important thing to do. All right, I want to go to your questions now on Zoom. First of all, how do you rank yourself as a crypto trader from 1 to 10? 1 being a newbie, 10 being an absolute Gordon Gekko best, and what is your single biggest challenge? Second, do you struggle with understanding complex DeFi concepts like yield farming, liquidity pools, and staking, and how? Third, do you get emotional about trading crypto? Be honest. Do you get emotional? And do you struggle with poor discipline when it comes to trading crypto and DeFi? And lastly, what questions do you have for me about DeFi? And would you like to learn from me how to profit from what I'm calling the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history? Again, leave me a comment wherever you're at right now, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Leave me a comment. If you've never left me a comment before, please leave one now. And of course, we want to give some love to our in-studio audience on Zoom right now. So everybody give me a wave if you're on Zoom here. I see a bunch of people waving out. Please turn your cameras on as well. I want to see all of you. I see a bunch of waves. This is our in-studio audience. And if you're on Zoom, you get priority here for my questions. And I really appreciate that. First, we'll go over to Instagram. Bill Lando says, I want to join. Great, Billy, no problem. Go to londonreal.tv/DeFi. Give me an application. Tell me why I should bring you into this team. That's what I want to hear. And I'll review your application personally right when I'm done with this live broadcast. We've got Island Rosner on Instagram saying, started in February and I'm still learning. That's the kind of person I want in my academy. Still learning. I'm still learning too. I've been in the financial markets for 30 years. Trust me, I'm still learning. So that's the kind of mentality we want. I appreciate it. We got Anthony Williams on Zoom. Thank you, Anthony. Give me a wave here. We appreciate you. And he says, it's great to be here. I love Brian and his DeFi revolution. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, Anthony. Great to have you here. We got Mel Nelson, 18 on Instagram, says, why will there be the greatest dislocation of wealth in history? Great question. Mel, I worked in finance for 15 years total. Started in 93. I finished in 2010, 11, right before I started London Real. There was so much money being made. And a lot of times, by the way, that's our gong that we just hit inside here. I don't know if you can hear it, but we hit that gong when someone's just joined our DeFi Academy. So I want to give a shout out. That was David Leahy, who actually just joined us. So David, we appreciate you. Welcome to the team. Get in there as well. You're going to jump into Module 0 right away. Upload your introduction video into Facebook, and we'll be telling you next steps next. So I appreciate that. Back to your question, Mel. I was in decentralized finance for 15 years, and I used to joke with one of my clients. His name was Luca. He was from Venice, and he traded over at Credit Suisse, and he was trading one of the credit derivatives books. And I said, Luca, I've never seen so many incompetent people make so much money in the city. And he used to laugh out loud. He's like, yeah, Brian, these people, they should be working at McDonald's, and they're making 250 grand a year. He said, it's ridiculous. And I said, you know, I'm happy to be a part of it, but this doesn't even make sense. How come one skill set, when you apply it to finance, you get paid 5 and 10x what you could in another skill set? And let me tell you why, Mel. Because there is an oligopoly in this centralized financial system that refuses to innovate because there's so much cash. And by keeping everybody out, by keeping all the DeFi players out, by making it hard for you to bank, by making it difficult for you to trade, by making you have to go through them as gatekeepers, they hold on to all of those margins, all of those profits. And let me say one other thing. Wall Street, City of London, Tokyo, Singapore, they all want you to trade as often as possible. That's how they make the most money. We used to say back on Wall Street, churn them and burn them. So if you look at your crypto exchanges and you look at your news services and you look at Twitter, all you see are people trying to get you to buy and sell. And who wins in the end? The house always wins. So remember, that's the same in CeFi and DeFi. These institutions are sitting on a market that's never properly been dislocated. It's never really been interrupted by the internet. And now we have the internet of money. So that's what's going to happen in here. $9 trillion a year are going to be freed up in the fees and margins and spreads that right now they're ripping out of you, the everyday working man and woman. And it's not fair. Right now, your money is being ripped off out of your stocks, out of your savings account, out of your retirement plan, out of your insurance, out of your pension, but you just don't know it. They're ripping out 5, 10% of your income every single year, and you just don't know it. And they'll keep doing this until you wake up. And DeFi is your chance to wake up. And it's incredible to see what this ecosystem is going to do. And it's going to give financial freedom back to the people. I think it's your basic human right to have your own financial freedom and be able to use your own finances the way that you should. We've been taught our whole lives by our schools that you're too stupid to manage your money. Oh no, that belongs to these experts over here. Well, I worked in the banks. There's no experts there. They're fleecing you is what they're doing. If you worked for the money, you should be able to invest the money. And once you see DeFi, you'll see exactly how to do it, and you'll have a better relationship with money. It's all very important, and this is why we have a mission here, and that's why we're all in on this. So great question, Mel. I got Russell Turner on Instagram says, I like the shirt and tie combination. Thank you, Russell. I'm trying to mix it up. Sometimes my wife agrees, sometimes she thinks I'm way off. So I'm always trying to really shake it up. So today we went with something a little controversial. I got King James Etim on Zoom. Appreciate having you here on Zoom. Says, yes, I'd like to know how staking works. And again, we just saw, James, you applied to be part of the DeFi Academy. So I'm going to go review your application now. I'm going to get into staking shortly. Great question. On a similar theme, we got Selin on Zoom says, what is staking precisely? And I'm going to get into that, so great. And we got Raj on Zoom, who's actually a student in the current accelerator, so great having you here, Raj, who's watching this with his kids right now. We've got Jaime, who's in our accelerator right now, who's taking the course with his, I think his 10-year-old daughter, who quite frankly has more crypto trading experience than you do. Like, she's been doing this for like a year, and they're taking the course together. I can't wait until I get my sons that are 4 and 5 years old trading in DeFi and trading crypto, so probably maybe another year. And my boy Caden's going to be whipping it up in there just like Gecko. Maybe I'll get him a suit and tie like Gecko as well, and he'll be behind the desk doing all that stuff as well. So great to have you here, and great to have you on that accelerator. And there's a lot of current accelerator students here. Great to have you here, Randy, Daniel, Corinna, and Stavros. Module 3 has dropped. I need you to jump into that right away. It's a difficult module this week. I'm asking you to put on a lot of trades. You're going to be uncomfortable, but we're all going to get there together in the group. and we're going to hold you accountable to put these trades on. So get to work. I'll see you Monday night for that live call, and I expect that work to be done so we can talk about how to make you into a better trader. So we appreciate you there so much. On a 1 to 10 scale of trading, from newbie to gecko, I got Karen Swellgard Harris on Zoom says, I'm 1 as a trader. I'm second guessing myself. So thank you, Karen. I appreciate your honesty, and we appreciate honesty and vulnerability in our groups. We can always help people that are vulnerable. So Karen, that's great. We need to get you up the curve, but at least you know where you're at. What you need is discipline. You need mentor. You need a structure, and that all comes inside our DeFi Academy. We've got Anthony Williams on Zoom, says 1 on a 1 to 10, and managing my time for Cryptoverse. I'm telling you, the Cryptoverse, it's crazy. It's like a circus. It's like a circus on planet Mars on crack. That's what the crypto space is like. It's literally got so many blinking lights and so many dopamine spikes, and it's trying to constantly get you to buy and sell and buy and sell. What you need to do is you need to stop reading that news, because it's going to kill your trading strategies and all of your trades going forward. A couple more things. I got Archie Warren on Zoom says, I'm a 4 on the 1 to 10 scale. Only started DeFi recently, normally making money but got burnt. I appreciate that. And we got Andrew Bowie on Zoom says 5. And you have low capital right now. That's something we address as well in the accelerator. So I appreciate those honest statements. Let me get back into our second topic, and I want to get through this, and that is this concept of liquidity. What is liquidity? Liquidity is such an important part, and liquidity and liquidity pools are so crucial. And I want to explain what liquidity is. And before we go any further, let's talk about what it is, because I think liquidity is the most important concept in finance. Bar none, it's the most important concept in finance, and I still believe it's poorly understood by even you so-called geckos out there. I think you actually don't understand liquidity, and you definitely don't understand it until it bites you in the butt. So what exactly is liquidity? Well, let me define it for you. Liquidity refers technically to the ease of which an asset or a security or a crypto can be converted into cash without affecting its price. Let me repeat that. Liquidity refers to the ease of which an asset or security can be converted to cash without affecting its price. And again, we all know that there's highly liquid instruments out there, there's medium liquid, and there's illiquid instruments out there. Highly liquid instruments I would classify as US government bonds. You could sell 1 billion of those suckers real fast and get your cash, probably within seconds.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.